Your shift starts at 9. By your first break, you have made $4,000 for flipping burgers. By Friday, you are a millionaire. So is the guy who dropped your fries. So is everyone. Which is exactly why, 3 weeks from now, your millionaire paycheck will not buy you a $12 sandwich. Welcome back to the Academy. Today, we find out why making everyone rich makes everyone broke. Here is how this works. At midnight tonight, the law changes. Every job in the country now pays $1,000 an hour. The burger station, the car wash, the guy in the foam mattress costume waving at traffic. All of it. Full-time, that comes to about $2 million a year, which is roughly 5 times what the President of the United States earns for running the entire country. Congress passes it unanimously because voting against free money polls extremely badly. There is no fine print. 1 page, 1 sentence, free money forever. Take notes because there will be a quiz. The quiz is your grocery bill. Minute 1. The greatest party in the history of employment. Fireworks over every parking lot in America. A man in a drive-through window finishes handing over a milkshake, does the math on his shift, and faints into the ice machine. Somebody quits a job they hated for 11 years by climbing out through the window of the break room, which was on the ground floor, so it was mostly a gesture. Everyone is rich. Everyone is happy. And in the back office of a small diner, one manager picks up a napkin, clicks a pen, and goes very, very quiet. Because hour 1 belongs to the napkin. Here is the math that ruins the party. That diner has a cook and a server. Their pay just went from about $20 an hour combined to $2,000 an hour combined. The diner sells maybe 30 sandwiches an hour on a good day. So before rent, before bread, before the electric bill, every single sandwich now carries about $70 of wages. If nothing else changes. But everything else changes because the bakery pays $1,000 an hour now, and the trucker hauling the flour makes $1,000 an hour, and the farmer paying his crew $1,000 an hour would like a word. Every single step of the sandwich supply chain got a raise, and every step passes it down the line straight into the price tag. By closing time, the menu board outside says it plainly. 1 sandwich, $9,000. And that created a brand new problem. Day 1. The prices will not sit still. The diner reprints the menu in the morning and reprints it again after lunch because by then the numbers are already wrong. If that sounds absurd, here is the part of the lesson that actually happened. In Germany, in 1923, money broke exactly like this. Workers were paid twice a day, once at noon and once at night, because by evening the morning wage had already lost its value. Families waited at the factory gates with suitcases and wheelbarrows, grabbed the cash, and sprinted to the shops before the afternoon price change hit. By that November, 1 single American dollar traded for about 1 trillion German marks. A wheelbarrow full of money could not buy a newspaper. The wheelbarrow itself was worth more than the money inside it. Keep that image because you are about to live in it. Week 1. Congratulations, everyone is a millionaire, and the shelves are empty. Here is the sneaky part. The stuff did not disappear. The bread, the eggs, the gasoline, it all still exists. What disappeared is anyone willing to trade real things for money that melts. The farmer looks at your beautiful stack of fresh bills and says, "No, thank you. I would rather keep the potatoes." The potatoes hold their value. Your money does not. So the country quietly slides into barter. A dozen eggs buys a haircut. A tank of gas buys a dentist appointment. Your grandmother, who has been hoarding canned goods since the 70s, is suddenly the richest woman in the neighborhood, and she knows it. Everyone has $1 million and nobody can buy lunch. There is a word for what happens next, and it is not a happy one. Year 1. The endgame, and it has happened before for real. Hungary, 1946. The fastest inflation ever recorded on planet Earth. Prices doubled roughly every 15 hours. Not every year, not every month. Every 15 hours. Your money lost half its value between breakfast and breakfast. The government eventually printed a banknote for 100 quintillion pengo, which is a 1 followed by 20 zeros, the largest denomination ever printed by any country, and by the time it circulated it was worth about 20 American cents. The fix, in the end, was brutal and simple. Throw the whole currency away. Start a new one. Knock the zeros off and promise never to do that again. That is where the $1,000 wage ends, with a shiny new currency, and your salary worth exactly what it was worth before the party started. So here is the real lesson, and it is the one sentence they never print on the campaign poster. A wage is not a number. A wage is a ratio. You were never actually paid in dollars. You were paid in sandwiches and rent and gas and shoes. The dollars are just the messenger. If the number on your paycheck goes up while the amount of real stuff stays the same, prices do not rise because shopkeepers are greedy. Prices rise because the ratio has to balance. Print a bigger number on everyone's paycheck, and you have not created wealth, you have just made the ruler longer and called yourself taller. But hold on. If big minimum wages always explode, how does Geneva get away with it? Geneva, in Switzerland, has the highest real minimum wage on earth, about $30 an hour. And it works, because Geneva did not multiply anything overnight. Prices there were already sky high, productivity was already enormous, so the ratio between the wage and the sandwich barely moved. The number is huge. The ratio is boring. Now look at Denmark, which pulls the same trick from the opposite direction. Denmark has no legal minimum wage at all. Not a single law. And a McDonald's worker there still earns about $22 an hour with 6 weeks of paid vacation, because the unions negotiated it industry by industry, slowly, matched to what the economy could carry. Two opposite systems, one identical secret. Move the ratio, not just the number. Meanwhile, the American federal minimum wage has been sitting at $7.25 since 2009. 17 years frozen solid, the longest freeze since the minimum wage was invented. That is not a balanced ratio either. It is the same mistake in slow motion, just pointed the other way. Which brings us to the grand finale, back at the diner where the napkin started. It is month 13. The government unveils the new currency with a very confident press conference. And on the wall of the diner, there is a brand new menu, printed on paper that is definitely not going to change, they promise. One sandwich, $12 new. The cook earns a normal wage again. The server earns a normal wage again. And parked outside, gleaming in the sun, is a small used hatchback with a for sale sign that reads, "We'll trade for sandwich." It is not a joke. It is a warning. The sandwich made it all the way to the price of a used car, and then the whole economy had to walk it back home. Epilogue. The diner keeps one of the old $9,000 menus framed on the wall, right next to the register, the way you keep a photo from a hurricane. Customers ask about it, and the manager just taps the glass and says, "We do not talk about sandwich season." And in the corner booth, every morning, Grandma pays for her coffee with exact change, counts it twice, and smiles like a woman who has seen the end of the world and kept the receipts. She learned the ratio. So can you?
Hey, it's the Dean. One thing before you go. The next time somebody promises you a big number, a big salary, a big price, a bigger anything, ask one quiet question. What does it buy? Numbers are cheap. Ratios are real. This is one true for money, and honestly, it is true for most of the things. More followers, more hours, more stuff. None of this means anything until you divide it by the what it costs you. So this week, pick one number in your life and do an honest division. Class is never really dismissed.
Next time at the academy, the robots finally take every job on Earth, and the government pays you a salary for staying home. A check for simply existing while the machines do everything. Paradise or the biggest trap in economic history. Bring your couch. You are going to be spending a lot of time on it. You have been watching the Absurd Academy, where the scenarios are fake and the lessons are load-bearing. Class dismissed.